Well, hello everyone. My name's Samantha. I'm the administrator here at Exotics of Ontario, and today I want to do a little video on betta fish. Um, so betta fish, also known as the Siamese fighting fish, are beautifully colored and misunderstood fish. This little guy right here is a lot more work than you would actually think. Now, in order to fully understand what kind of care is needed for the betta fish, you do kind of need to understand the origins of the betta fish. Now, the betta fish originates in Southeast Asia, and it's typically found in shallow waters, like in the rice fields and things like that. Now, in those areas, there tends to be either severe flood or severe drought. There's kind of no real in between. That has made these little guys evolve and adapt into the perfect labyrinth fish. What is a labyrinth fish, you might be asking? Well, that is actually a really, really good question, because a labyrinth fish is a very unique type of fish. Labyrinth fish have the ability to not only breathe oxygen through their gills in the water the way every other fish has the ability to, but they're also able to breathe oxygen through the normal air as long as they stay somewhat wet. So they're able to breathe oxygen for a limited amount of time the way you and I do, as long as they stay wet, which is actually really, really cool and really unique and makes these guys very adaptable. So it's kind of cool. So Siamese fighting fish, as most people know, got their name from their history of fighting. Well, the betta is actually got a very similar story. In the mid-1800s, when the Siamese fighting fish started gaining their popularity for their fighting styles, they started getting named after the Betta warrior clan. It's an ancient clan in Japanese history and very well known for their fighting abilities and their warrior-esque skills. So, just also a really random cool fact about the bettas and their history. Now, a lot of people think that they can take their betta fish and just put them in a vase or a small little fish bowl and that your betta fish will be happy. That is absolutely incorrect. The smallest size of tank that your betta fish should have is 2.5 gallons. Preferably, though, a 5-gallon long tank. The reason for the long tank is because they are shallow swimmers. Remember when we talked about in history how they were found in Southeast Asia in the rice fields and things like that? So they typically do better and thrive well in the longer tanks versus the taller tanks. So please do keep that in mind when you are tank shopping for your betta. There's also a misconception with bettas that they are solitary fish. And to a certain extent, that is true. Male bettas are very territorial and typically prefer to be on their own. However, if you did put them in a tank with other non-flashy, slow-moving fish, even fish bigger than the betta, it will not do that bad. It will feel perfectly fine in there because it understands that they're not other bettas and that they are no threat to the male and its territory. In saying that, females are the exact opposite. Females are schooling fish. They're very social and need a minimum of 5 in a tank. So if you're going to get a school of females, make sure you get a 10-gallon long tank instead of the 5, because you will need the extra space so that they can all, when they're feeling scared or anxious or overwhelmed or overstimulated, go hide in their own places away from each other. Or if any of the females get into a mood and start bullying the other female around, etc., etc. They still need their own space, so a 10-gallon tank is recommended for that. So just keep that in mind. With Arthas here, I do have some snails. You can't really see them. They're probably all in the castle there. But I did get some snails to help keep his tank clean, because the smaller the tank, the more you do have to keep up with the cleaning. And that is because it's easier for algae and poop and extra food and things like that to build up. So I got 3 snails, and so far it seems like it's making a difference. It's only been a couple of days and it seems cleaner than it normally is, but time will tell. So, in speaking of cleaning, You do need to clean your fish's water once a week, and not the whole tank. Only if you're really noticing that there's a lot of algae buildup and a lot of extra food, then it's recommended to take it out. You don't want to disturb the environment too much, and that's just because you don't want to stress your betta fish out. You want him to enjoy his home and enjoy his environment, right? So make sure that you only do a 10% water change, and that is more than enough. Make sure you also use a water conditioner to when you clean your tank and when you initially add water to your tank as well. And that's just to make sure that all the extra chlorine, fluoride, and chemicals that are in our tap water are out of the fish's water. So he'll be able to thrive and be at the perfect pH balance for him to live his hopefully full 5 years. So yeah. Now, bettas in the wild will eat typically mosquitoes, bugs, larvae, worms, insects like that. They do need a high protein, high calcium diet, and those do provide that for them. In captivity, however, they do need betta-specific pellets. I went to my local Pet Value. Big Al's is also a really good option. Excuse me. For getting pellets. Sometimes Big Al's does suggest bloodworms. However, I found with this little guy, he did not enjoy the bloodworms. He wouldn't eat them, so I had to go and get betta-specific pellets. He was eating fine and did great after that. So that was excellent and great news to see. So make sure you're feeding betta-specific pellets when you feed your betta, okay? So the last topic I do want to talk about is breeding. Breeding with bettas is actually kind of interesting because it's the exact opposite of what you typically see in the animal kingdom. So when you breed bettas, what you'll end up doing is obviously putting the male and the female together in the tank. And the male will do his dance and entice the female, and there'll be some foreplay. And eventually, the female will go over to the bubble nest over here in the corner and lay her eggs. Once those have been laid, the male will come along and fertilize them. After that happens, you take the female out because the female will destroy the nest, she'll eat the eggs, things like that. It's great. Sometimes males will eat eggs. However, we typically have noticed that males will eat the unfertilized eggs. They don't eat all of their eggs. They just kind of notice the ones that haven't been fertilized, and they start picking at those. Once they have hatched, though, we do take the male out of the cage and put him back into his cage because he'll start seeing the little bettas as threats. Once they're born, he doesn't understand that they're his, and he will attack, he will eat them, and he will kill them. So, yeah, pretty interesting. He has fatherly instincts up until they're born, which is kind of like some fathers out there. And mothers. He's actually creating his bubble nest right now, so I'm going to bring this over and show you, because it's kind of cool if we can get a good view of him. Oh my god, there we go. Oh, you're just going to swim away now? Hi, little guy. But yeah, that's his bubble nest that he has right now. If there was a female in here, she would lay her eggs. Oh, I can't even know, don't even know where my finger is. She would lay her eggs right here. And he would take care of them until they hatch, and yeah. So thanks for coming out to my TED Talk and listening to my very interesting facts about bettas, and I hope you realize that they are good beginner pets because they are less care than other fish that are out there. However, they are not as basic as you would think, which is kind of interesting. They do need a little bit more care than a lot of people have assumed in the past, and if you're considering getting a betta, I really do hope you do some more research and figure out what needs your betta will have. Alright? Thanks again for joining me, and I hope everyone's staying safe out there in these crazy, chaotic times, and have a good night. Bye.